Hey Ahmed, so how long have you been in Malta now?
Well, I came in August last year, so it's nearly 10 months, 11 months. So, yeah.
And how do you consider yourself?
Well, Mela,
With the Mela, eh?
yeah, I already started to integrate here in Malta. I was born in Germany, but I have Turkish origins. The thing is, I grew up in Germany, but I more feel like a Turkish nationality, and I feel more like Turkish. So I'm more connected with my roots.
Well, do you consider them your roots? But how often have you been in Turkey? How well do you know Turkey?
Well, I know Turkey quite well. I try to follow all the news. I think I know more things about Turkey than Germany. And I also think that my Turkish is better than my German.
Your language?
My language skills, and yeah, also in written and spoken.
Well, I mean, keep in mind that, for example, in Malta, many people write Maltese badly. But then at the same time, if you tell them, oh, your Maltese language is Arabic, is an Arabic language, now it's Maltese, but they write it badly, really.
But this is very, very curious, no? Like culturally, what does it make, you know?
Well, let's say I'm 50 now. I've spent enough time on this island. I lived for some years abroad, but most of my life has been here. However, I would not say I have this strong Maltese, identity. I don't feel I have roots. I'm not a nomad, but I don't feel I like Maltese culture, of course. But it is as much as I like any other culture. Really, it's not something that I say, the Maltese. I don't know. Maltese beer is the best. I don't have these patriotic sensations really that are strong.
Yeah.
You? How international do you feel?
I asked myself that quite a couple of times, and I really cannot pinpoint what makes me Maltese or what exactly makes me European. At least so far, I considered myself to be close to the continent because we could move so easy.
But now that we had, for example, a short time where we couldn't travel because of Corona, was it that frustrating that you could not leave?
Well, I did not reach the frustration point, but I really started to consider like what it means to be an islander and what it means to be a part of the continent directly, like having your foot in Germany,
Yeah. Well, I lived in the center of Italy, and something that I used to like is, I lived on an island in Italy because I lived in a small town on a hill. It's enough if I tell you that every weekend, for example on a Sunday, there were no buses. So you lived on an island. But something that I loved in Italy is that I used to, drive the car, and 1,000 kilometers later, I'm in Göttingen, in Germany. You leave when you want, you go when you want. So on an island, you do have this thing of that you need to organize a flight most of the time, unless you take a ferry or. But well, now you've been here almost a year. You can orientate yourself well. You expect what the Maltese could do.
Yeah, but now that you have been here for almost a year, how do you see the Maltese? But now, without being specific, just say how things are. Are they really welcoming, or how do you see them like a bit?
Well, I see. Well, in my case, it's generally more like I feel welcomed here.
Because they don't consider you as German for sure, no?
Well, it is a thing that some people they still try to speak. Well, it's wrong to say like they still try to speak Maltese to me, but they are talking Maltese to me mostly because I'm not the typical European guy, as you can see.
You're not tall and blonde, no.
No, I'm not. So quite often they're talking Maltese to me, and it's always for me like to tell them I'm not Maltese. It's kind of weird.
But when they tell you, so what are you? You're not Maltese. What are you? What do you tell them?
Well, that's the funny part. Like I have to tell them a whole sentence. Like, well, I was born in Germany. I grew up in Germany, but I have Turkish origins. But now I live in Malta.
And I eat spaghetti.
And I eat spaghetti.
If you let me.
Well, the thing is, the Maltese, even I can say even 20 years ago, when there was not this, because recently the population of Malta increased by around 20%. Mostly people who come from Europe, so using Schengen, and others from non-European countries as well, coming for work. So even since 20 years, when there was before this big influx, the Maltese already distinguished between immigrants, basically the Africans who come on the boats. That's reality because of our location, close to Libya. And expats. Expats are the foreigners from the rest of the world. Now, in the beginning, this was a discriminatory thing. Then there is still, I think, some discrimination. Do you feel this between European and I don't know, a Filipino, or European and Ukrainian, or a Russian?
Of course. All you need to do is talk to some, and you will see the difference. Even to rent, for example, when they come to rent a place, for example, the prices.
Yeah, but what about Malta? I mean, we are talking now about the European side, but Malta, I think, has a different point of view to this case.
Well, the Maltese are islanders. We like to fish. So basically, there is the foreigner who we can rent an apartment to. So he's a welcome foreigner. It was even sold to many Maltese that the more foreigners come, the more they will pay our pensions in the future. It's not relevant to you too, but for me, yes. But on the other hand, recently, over the last 5-6 years, I think, the rent prices, because there is more demand, went up by something like 100%.
Oh.
So there is a mixed feeling of, oh, the foreigners bring us money, but if you are renting properties to them. Recently, then if you're not renting properties, because of the foreigners, rent prices went up. So there is this mixed kind of love-hate.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, at individual level, the Maltese are welcoming.
Yeah, many times. Though I must admit that I saw a difference in the years. That when you are a foreigner as a tourist, it's one attitude. But the moment that they see you are settling here, there might be some who have a different attitude.
A feeling of invading space.
Yes, it's
maybe?
like coming out of ignorance and, according to me, and the lack of information many times. Because as Antoine said, now it's almost official. You need other workers to pay your pensions.
Your pensions, yes. The thing is, there are
And
many.
it's not we said it, huh?
No, the Prime Minister said it. the thing is, there are jobs that now many like to say, but the foreigners are taking our jobs. Then the next one is, but the foreigners are taking the jobs that the Maltese don't want to do.
Yes.
Classic. The third one is, but the Maltese are not doing those jobs because the foreigners accept less money, so employers prefer the foreigner because he can do the same job for less money. So it is, I mean, the world is a village. I mean, in the end, it's not that Malta is very different.
Well, but then there are also some jobs these require foreigners. If you need, for example, a specific foreign language, and then you cannot offer this training in your country.
In Malta, rather than languages, it was expertise in gaming, because we built an industry on gaming, and then we discovered that there are not enough Maltese qualified in this sector. So then we got the foreigners. So even operators, they came here, because the Maltese are they speak English. The speaking English thing is not something that we can keep on selling forever, because even all the world speaks English now. Much more. I mean, in fact, the language speaking industry has been going down. It's not in fashion anymore.
Yeah, for example, about migration, German news, and in general in the public, I heard about Malta, for example, because of the boats coming to Malta and the arguments between Malta and Italy.
Yeah. The thing is, Malta was a British colony. So we ended up with what is called a search and rescue area that basically spreads from close to Libya, which is south of Malta, close to Tunisia, and it goes halfway up to Greece. So if you look at the size of Malta and our search and rescue area, it's massive. Then there is a legal interpretation of what is a safe port, where the boats should take the immigrants when they save them. Then of course there is the conspiracy theory about NGOs, In the end,
never ends.
Bottom line, it is political game and money. I mean, the Italians want part of our search and rescue area because that gives them money, even when a plane flies over it.
Okay.
So basically, it is not about the migrants.
It's also a question of policy at the end.
Policy, politics, games, really, given that there's no clear message on social media and on the news, I really found a safe place in saying I have no opinion on migration, because the little I know, I even doubt whether it is misinformation or not. You know, we're in the information age, but it's a mess with information, you know.
Yeah.
So, what I see around me is that when they say there is an invasion of migrants, you know, I mean, ask someone to look at the numbers. You know, how many thousands we are, especially with the foreigners now. We are more than 500,000, and the 3,000 of immigrants that came with the boats that we have in Malta.
So
3,000.
far.
Let's say 5,000, including
Over the
those
years.
asking refugee status. But if you call that an invasion, I mean, and there's still, I think, we can do or should be done or should have been done, but I'm not well equipped to have a technical opinion on this. I mean, that is how I feel.
Yeah, but then who defines that, for example, I am an expat or a migrant? You know, who defines it?
How many days do you have? Because really, it's not the legal definition. It is what's in the mind. You know, it's a culture, but it's not, Malta is nothing different to others. In social media, it's a mess.
Yeah.
But it is also part of scared of the unknown, because the unknown is also bigger because of the mess with information that we have. Plus, everyone is an expert on migration.
Social media gives you the opportunity of everyone having an opinion, but it doesn't mean that that opinion is valuable. Yours compared to mine, it depends on how much knowledge you have, what expertise. And this has been put to the same level now, because on social media everyone has an opinion.
Yeah, expert opinion. Expert opinion. It was on coronavirus, on migration, on football. It depends on the season.
I think the problem is that people are not in the states anymore to say I don't know,
Yeah, they are scared of saying I don't know.
and the rest.
Yeah,
Not
we have to
scared,
know.
I'd say, yeah.
We have to know.
While at the same time, they don't care to know. So they don't really care to know, like, proper knowledge about it.
Yeah,